Good morning. Tracy's always a tough act to follow. My name is Dick Paulsen. I'm a native Cincinnatian and a business executive. I'm also a parent. I'm a past ProKids board president. I'm a Friends of Children Society member. And beginning last year, I was on the podium. I became a CASA volunteer. In that role, I advocate for a young man. He was deserted by his mother. He never knew his father. His mother was addicted to drugs. And the case has its challenges because he's a teenager who's had no one in his life to show him how to make the right decisions. And as you might imagine, he's not making many right decisions. As his CASA volunteer, I have the opportunity to connect him with all the right services so he can prepare for his life as an adult. And I find that he lives in an alternative reality from children like mine and others that we know. Those kids are making college decisions right now. They're planning for a prom. They're looking forward to a family vacation this summer. The kids in the child protection system who were also born into this world with such promise, the only future they may know is one filled with broken promises, dead ends, and shattered dreams. ProKids, we can impact the future these children face and change what our entire community looks like as they become adults. ProKids CASA volunteers make sure these children have the services that can best help them to graduate from high school, to have a safe and secure home, to have the safety net and support system all children need as they launch into adulthood. These goals drive the advocacy of ProKids CASA volunteers, and we do it because we know a simple truth. ProKids works. It works because it focuses on the critical need that's often overlooked in our community. Abused and neglected children need our help in order to have a different future. If we look at the national statistics, more than half of the children who are abused and neglected fall behind in school. They're more likely to be delinquent or truant. Fewer than 60% ever graduate high school. They're likely to move at least once a year from foster home to foster home or more restrictive setting. After experiencing such trauma in their lives, 21% suffer PTSD, which is a greater rate than returning war veterans. 20% of these children will become homeless adults. And in a statistic that I think screams for action, 80% of our prison population was once in foster care. These children need an alternate reality, one that doesn't end in dead-end jobs, homelessness, hopelessness, prison, one that doesn't mean hopelessness. They need an alternate reality that enables them to see that there are grown-ups who will stand behind them and care about them, that they have the power to make good decisions, that education is meaningful, that they can break a cycle that may have existed in their family for generations, a cycle of abuse, neglect, and insecurity. And they can become the parents that shape a different reality for their own children. But make no mistake, these children are our children, as Tracy said. They're in our community. Almost 2,700 children are under the jurisdiction of Hamilton County's juvenile court each year. These children are in our community, children who came into this world innocent and wanting to be loved, but through no fault of their own, they're dependent on us. They deserve a chance to have a future that's brighter and more secure than they have ever known or even imagined. They need something to change. They need what we're calling this morning the ProKids Difference. They need ProKids to speak up for them in court, in schools, and in foster homes. So how does ProKids help shape an alternate reality for these children? Over the past 34 years, ProKids has developed a thoughtful, holistic approach to serving our children. The ProKids advocacy team is a tactical combination of a staff attorney who's an expert in child protection law, a CASA manager who's expert on advocacy for children and the social service system, and a CASA volunteer trained to become expert on the children themselves. These teams make an extraordinary commitment. They give their time, often measured in years, to give voice to the voiceless. And it's my privilege to be part of this team as a CASA volunteer. And it's been my privilege to get to know the ProKids staff. It's when working with them directly that one best sees their impressive talents. My CASA manager, Carmen, always has the answer and provides tremendous support. She teaches me how to navigate my case and encourages me when I get frustrated. And when I go to court on my case, it's clear that everyone involved in the child protection system has great respect for ProKids. It's an honor to be a part of that. But to be so committed, I needed to see proof. What is the evidence that ProKids works? ProKids outcome measures tracked for nearly 20 years are that evidence. In 2014, while serving more than 600 children, ProKids advocacy teams made sure that 98% of them were free from abuse and neglect. In a world where foster children are 10 times more likely to be abused than others, this is an incredible achievement. It enables the children to look at life differently. ProKids children can begin to know stability. This means having supportive adults around them. This means knowing that they have a home. Last year, 85% of these children stayed put and did not move between foster homes or to a more restrictive setting like a group home. 71% of our children attended school for 90% of the year or more. 98% received the appropriate educational placement, or for our younger children, were achieving milestones like development or walking and talking. And ProKids has a set of outcome measures that measures what children long for the most: a family to call their own. ProKids children are very likely to be placed with their siblings while their case is open, and they're very likely to live in a permanent, safe family home when their case closes. In many cases, this means returning to a parent or moving in with a family friend or a relative. For others, it means adoption. 93% of the children who have ProKids in their lives live in a forever family home when their case closes. These outcome measures indicate how effective the ProKids advocacy team is when we advocate for a child. Remember that statistic about the high percentage of the prison population that was once in the foster care system. It costs us roughly $25,000 a year to house a prisoner in an Ohio prison. The cost for our advocacy is just $2,500 per child per year. So it all starts with us. By putting in place a dedicated advocate who can focus on the child's needs, ProKids can do things that the overburdened county system just cannot, especially now that their staffing has been slashed by continuing budget cuts. CASA volunteers can put the interest of the individual child first. They can break the cycle we see in many of our families and help shape the generation to come. Breaking that cycle is an opportunity to change our whole community. As a business executive, I see how the investment in ProKids, with time as well as financial contribution, pays off. Because when these children see life in a different way, they don't have to repeat the past. They can become what they aspire to be as community members, employees, and parents. They can make decisions they're proud of, good decisions, and they'll be positive examples for their own children. Creating this reality for these children and our community is our opportunity today. Through the Friends of Children Society, which you'll be hearing more about, we fund the training and support that enables volunteers like me to feel up to the task of speaking for these children. We also fund the continued efforts of ProKids to work within the child protection framework to help improve the lives of all 2,700 children in the system each year. By being a friend of children, you can invest in the promise of our children. As a friend of children, you can create a new cycle of growing up safe and secure. You can be part of the ProKids Difference. Now, I have a favorite fable that's called the Starfish story I'd like to tell, and it goes something like this. Early one morning, a man was walking down the seashore. Down the beach, he saw a boy reaching in the sand, picking something up and throwing it back in the water. As the man got closer, he saw the boy was picking up one of hundreds of starfish that had washed ashore in the tide. Again and again, he would reach down, pick up a starfish, and throw it into the water. The man asked the boy what he was doing. "The sun's coming up," the boy said. "If they don't go back in the ocean, they'll all die." "But there's so many starfish lining the beach," the man responded. "You can't possibly make a difference." Without hesitating and picking up another starfish, the boy looked at the man and said, "It makes a difference for this one." And he threw it back in the sea. Too often we're the man on the beach, paralyzed by a problem that looks too great to overcome, and we look away. Today, we challenge you to start to think like the boy who made a difference for that starfish, and the next one, and the next one after that. The following story we're going to share with you puts a face on what we've been talking about. Here's how the arc of one girl's life was changed forever, how a ProKids CASA volunteer could make an impact, and how we, ProKids, made a difference for this one. Thank you.